All right. We're here again with the Veteran Project, and today I'm with Gary Nagle. My name's Tony Kaiser, and go ahead.
Hey, I'm Gary Nagle. I'll be 72 in May. Vietnam era veteran. I guess for me this project is about helping other veterans who maybe will hear something from a veteran that will give them relief from their service. And not only is it just relief for emotional discomfort or whatever, but it's also the honor, the dignity, the respect, and the way that we did what we thought we can do for our country and our freedom. And being today with the crap going on overseas, I don't even want to talk about it. It's annoying to me, but that's politics, and I hate talking about politics. So I'm going to talk about, why I went into the military and what I did when I was in the military, and go from there.
All right. We'll start out with back in the day, since you were a Vietnam era vet. Back in the days, what was your why did you decide? Were you a volunteer or were you?
I volunteered. I was born in Detroit, large family, dirt poor. I dropped out of school when I was 15, and then I worked at a company called Saunders Bakery.
Oh, I remember Saunders Bakery.
Then when I turned 17, I had to have my mother sign for me to go into the military. I enlisted in the Army.
When was that? What year was that?
It was in June of 1967.
Wow, I wasn't even born yet.
Yeah, a lot of guys that I ride with today weren't even born when I was in the military. So I think they call me the old geezer, or they say I have a geezer bike, but that's cool.
the geezer glides is what I call them.
Geezer glide. I'm the geezer glider. But when I was in the military, I was engaged to be married, and unfortunately that woman got pregnant, and it wasn't me, so that ended. And I was heartbroken. 17, 18-year-old kid didn't know his butt from a hole in the ground anyway.
Good old Jody.
And then, I'm serving with Vietnam veterans who are coming back, telling me their stories, and it's very sad. So that was basic training thereabout. And after basic training, I went to Missouri for, believe it or not, I was called a field wireman.
Where did you serve at? Where did you go for basic training?
I went to Fort Knox, Kentucky.
Oh, hoorah! Tough soldier.
Yeah.
That's where.
On the way there, they gave me my chit money, and I was 17. And man, that beer was good for a 17-year-old kid.
Oh hell yeah! What was your MOS?
I was a 36K 2P.
What is it? 30? Was it 36?
36K 2P.
What was that?
The field wireman paratrooper.
Oh, ouch! Rock on.
Yeah. So when I was in AIT, they had these guys coming around looking for volunteers for airborne. They said it's $55 a month.
Like Horseshack from Arnold.
Right.
I'll go.
So my thinking was $55 more a month. That'll buy a whole lot more beer.
Yeah.
For sure. So I did. I went to airborne training.
Where'd you do your airborne at?
Fort Benning, Georgia.
Fort Benning. That was your AIT, right?
No, my AIT was field wireman.
Okay. So,
but
all right.
I was, after airborne training, I was sent to 82nd Airborne in Fort Bragg, North Carolina.
Cool. Where did you do your field wiring training?
In Kansas.
Kansas City. What post was that?
Fort Riley, Kansas.
Fort Riley. Cool.
As a matter of fact, it was in 1967-ish, because it was 1967. I enlisted. I went to AIT a month or two later, and lo and behold, there's a lot of hippies, anti-war protesters, drugs, and craziest going on. So there was a place in St. Louis, Missouri that me and my buddy went to called Gaslight Square, which was a hippie district that was, today I still remember it because it was intensely hippie-ish. And it reminds me of where Detroit at the time had a place called Plum Street, which a lot of you older guys or gals can remember that. And
Plum Street sounds familiar to me. I spent a lot of time delivering. I used to be a truck driver, and I drove around pretty much all over Detroit metropolitan area. Now, did you go to Vietnam right away after basic and AIT and airborne?
No, I was assigned 82nd Airborne Division approximately September, and it was March of 1968 or February. Our unit was on lockdown. We couldn't leave our barracks. I think it was a Tet Offensive, they called it, and I was 17 years old. Lo and behold, they issued me flak jacket, boots, everything I needed to go to Vietnam, including my weapons.
Now, did you have the M14 or were they?
I had M16.
Yeah, so the M16 was out by that time.
Right.
Okay.
So while we were on lockdown, it took about 2 weeks, and a few people went AWOL, blah, blah. But I remember getting on a bus, going to Pope Air Force Base, putting my steps on a C-130, and my name was called over the loudspeakers to go see the chaplain.
Oh, okay.
And I said, what the hell is this? My mind's already in Vietnam, basically. Right. And they said, you can't go because you're 17.
What?
Yeah.
Damn.
And the truth of the matter is that you don't know how I felt. I don't even know how I felt at that time. I was gung-ho-ish in a way, but I also had...
I know I was at that time.
I had this intense feeling of guilt and shame that I wasn't good enough to go to Vietnam. And that hurt me for years.
I know when the first Gulf War broke out and when everybody was sent to Saudi Arabia, I actually, my unit didn't get picked to go.
Right.
I actually volunteered, signed the volunteer papers to go.
Right.
And I never got called to go. My MOS at the time was a 52 Charlie, which is heating and cooling.
Right.
And out there in the desert, man, they want guys like me. But yeah,
well,
I understand that part, because I wanted to go, but didn't get a chance to go.
Right. And, and the funny part of my military service is that summer, I went up to West Point for the summer to train cadets, which was probably the best duty anybody could ask for. And it was interesting, and West Point's beautiful. And my duties were to teach the cadets how to use radio, MOSs, how to run wires today with cell phones, all informational message center and that. And then when I came back, I worked in a message center, which is a battalion headquarters, which I would pick up and deliver messages or information from brigade headquarters to the company level. The middleman, I'd take the mail guy to get the mail, deliver the mail, just like a clerk in a way.
Basically a gopher.
And I liked it because when they went out to the boonies for training, I could take my Jeep, because I had my own Jeep. That was fun. Go back and forth, and when guys would say, give me some stuff, give me some candy, give me some cookies, give me some cigarettes. That was always fun to do.
Yeah.
And then a few months after that, I get orders to go to Vietnam. Okay.
What was that like when you finally got the orders to go to Vietnam?
I went to town, got drunk, got my ass kicked. Thank God, because I got my face smashed in and I broke my jaw. And they had to wire my mouth shut for 10 weeks. When my mouth was healed, I had less than 13 months to go to Vietnam, so it saved my life.
What was, looking back on that time, what was your best day? What was your happiest or your best day in the military? If you could.
I think the happiest for me when I was in the military was my first parachute jump.
Was it?
Yeah, because it made me intensely proud that I could do it, and all the fear that I had of it went away.
It takes a lot to jump out of a plane.
You got to be nuts,
yeah.
or crazy. But no, that was one of my one of them great days I had when I was going through training, and I went through that 3 weeks of intense training, and I went and got on that airplane and didn't know what to expect, and made that jump, and it was great. Because once you leave the plane, it's all adrenaline. So it's like the most adrenaline you could. It's better than probably going out to space in a sense, because your body is just full of adrenaline, intense. Then once you leave the plane and your chute opens, it's like a soothing, calming sort of, just a peaceful ride to the ground.
Yeah, my dad was he was 101st, and he said so. He told me it was something similar.
Right, it's very very interesting. The emotional and the physical type of effects your body goes through at that time. It's intense, and I loved it. I loved and I loved the camaraderie.
Yeah,
I loved the people I went to school with, the people I served with, because we were a group of hardcore 82nd Airborne All-American veterans. And I still have honor and respect for those guys. I belong to the 82nd Airborne Facebook page. Also, it's a group on Facebook called Vietnam Reflections, which is another Facebook page. So if there's anybody that's a Vietnam era or Vietnam vet that needs to have any kind of interaction with another veteran, and of course we're all in our 70s now, that's a great place to get any sort of issues going with your anything, whether it's the cost of a bike, whether it's whatever it is. There's all kinds of good information going on out there that I have found places and groups on Facebook to go to. Like Anthony, my buddy, like you. Facebook's a good thing.
Yeah, it has its good points and its bad
Absolutely.
points.
If it wasn't for Facebook.
Yeah, I understand the camaraderie. Like when I was in, the guys that I served with, I mean, I lost touch with a lot of them because we all went our separate ways. But yeah, the camaraderie is like something unlike anything else. I don't have the, I didn't see combat, so I don't have that bond, that extra bond that a lot of combat veterans do.
Well, I have quite a few stories that, I went through a lot of different interactions during the 1967 to 1970. One of my best friends I met who just got back from Vietnam when I was in Fort Bragg. He was 101st Airborne, just got back from Vietnam to our barracks, and he opens up his wall locker, and I didn't know him. And he's got the Outlaws MC patch from Detroit.
Right.
So we bonded, obviously.
Right away.
Right away.
Hometown, man.
So believe it or not, I believe it because I did it. We both seen the movie Easy Rider, hired in kites in Fayetteville, North Carolina, when Easy Rider came out. And that was where my biking mentality, where my attitude came in. But wasn't even that time. Came home on leave in 1967. My brother had a 53 pan chopped kicker, and that was fun. I mean, it was old school.
A lot of veterans started out. A lot of the Hells Angels actually started
we're veterans, absolutely. Because the World War II vets, from my history, were just looking for adrenaline. They didn't want to deal with reality.
Yeah, it was a way to get that camaraderie back that they had when they were overseas.
And they felt, I believe that they felt that they needed to have people,
like-minded people
who could relate to them.
Right, they could understand. And
I mean, they didn't want to go to school with a school teacher. They wanted to ride a bike with another veteran or whatever.
What was your the worst day that you can remember from being in the military? And if it's too touchy,
well, I'd say it was one of my worst was a guy came back from Nam who was 173rd Airborne. He was assigned to my company, and he would just sit there like this, from the moment he woke up until he went to bed. He never went out. He got food. That was it. But he sat there for about a week.
He was just closed off from everybody else.
And I talked to him. How you doing? Let's get some food. That was one of my worst experiences from that time when I was in the military. The other thing is knowing that people I didn't go to Vietnam with, who I served with before I was told, they died, and that hurts. The worst thing for me personally was when I got spit on in 1968 in Washington, D.C. airport, and I was called a baby killer.
They have no idea.
They had no idea what they were doing.
No idea what the guys went through.
Right. And it wasn't, it was just the attitude of the world at that time was so unreal in a lot of ways. It was almost like unreal.
Right. I was a little boy at that time. I was born in '69, and I don't remember that, but I remember seeing old newsreels as I got older about the way you guys were treated upon coming back home. And the way my cousin would talk to me about his time, and it was just it was just totally disrespectful to the vets.
Right, and it wasn't disrespect.
Oh, it was.
We're strong enough to handle that.
The civilians.
I think what it was that we just couldn't believe that we were doing what we had to do, that our country asked us to do, and the people who looked at us the way they did and treated us the way they did didn't understand why.
Right.
They didn't understand why we have to have a military to protect them, even if they agree or disagree.
Of what I remember of the past of that war, you know, looking back at watching the old newsreels and reading articles about Vietnam, and about having, you know, kids actually coming in and women coming in with bombs and blowing up units and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And soldiers, and people don't know that. A lot of people back then didn't know that.
Right. You know, but again, you know, we can talk about the atrocities of war.
Right.
But one thing I want to say, and it has nothing to do with my service in the military, but I'm so proud of the Ukrainians today. You know, I think that's an honor for someone to stand there and say, "Fuck you, Russia," and die.
Total annihilation.
Yeah, and I get it. I get it, because that's what I would have done if I had to. And I will today, too.
This is my home. You're not coming
Right,
here.
absolutely. Fuck you. I'm not going to put up with this bullshit.
Right.
Anyway, that's politics, too, in a sense. But
well, that's not politics, but I mean, the reason why they're there, that's
I mean, it's ironic that today you're doing this little...
Everything that, that, you know, as a veteran, and as you being a veteran, we got into it because of, not because of our politics of it, but it's because of the country's politics.
Right.
See, I got in during the first Gulf War,
right,
and all the BS that was going on with that one.
Right, absolutely.
And I mean, I was lucky I didn't go over to see that combat or anything like that.
But there's a lot of people, and what the worst thing about, a lot of people don't understand about being a military member, it's not the member who dies in a war that hurts. It's their family.
Yes. They
live with it forever.
I just did an interview earlier today. It was Tony's wife, and one of her worst days was leaving home, leaving her kids, and she started crying on camera, and I was like, whoa, it didn't dawn on me right away until I was like, wow, I'm thinking to myself, what did I say? But then I realized, and we stopped the camera and we went through, and she went into the emotional side of actually being deployed and leaving family, and that's what a lot of civilians don't understand. They don't know the emotional toll that it takes out on veterans.
Well, you know, I believe they should bring back the draft.
Oh, I do too.
I think that a lot of kids today, younger, I call them kids. They need
some kind of discipline.
They need some sort of direction, some sort of, I guess fortunately I was brought up at World War II hype.
Right.
Because when I was 5, 6 years old, I'd watch John Wayne movies, and all them World War II movies are hitting the TV.
Right.
If TV just came out, what else does a kid do?
Watch TV.
Watch TV.
Right.
So I was kind of...
Yeah, the Israeli army, they have as soon as you turn 18, I believe you got to go serve in the military for 2 years.
It doesn't even have to be a war zone.
No.
Because there's conscientious objectors who didn't go to Vietnam, who served their country, doctors, nurses, medics. You don't have to be a infantry gung-ho.
There's I think at the time I was in it, the amount of support, it was like 7 soldiers to 1 combat. Support soldiers
70%
to 1 combat.
Right.
7, so it was like, it broke it down to 7 to 1.
Right.
7 combat, 7
people support groups.
7 soldiers to support one combat soldier.
Right.
And that was one of the things that I was in. I was in a medical unit. I was in with 323rd General Hospital out of Southfield, Michigan. I was a reservist, and it was like an old MASH unit, and we were all support.
Right.
I mean, and I know there's more support veterans out there than there are combat veterans, and it seems like all the combat veterans get a lot of the glory and of the interviews from the Hollywood side of the media.
Right.
And this is one of the reasons why I'm sitting down to do these interviews like this, because I want to hear from guys like you to tell the story of the average everyday Joe that's been there and done that. Do you have any regrets from the time you were in the military?
My personal regret? Yeah.
Any kind of regret?
I did some stupid things, but who didn't?
We all did.
But I got over it. I got honorable discharge.
Well, that's good. So
I could have been dishonorable, but we won't go there. Alcohol and 82nd Airborne are sort of like, apple pie.
There you go. In closing, do you have, what are you doing now?
I'm retired.
You're retired?
And I love my bike. I love my lady. And my whole existence is about communicating with other veterans and other human beings. If I can be of service to them with any experience I've ever achieved or attained, that if they have any questions or anything they want to know, just ask me, and I'm not afraid to tell you what I think. And might not like it, but it is what it is. And I think that the other perspective is that I'm here today because something called our Creator has put me here today. I didn't put myself here. He just gave me the tools I needed to get here. I didn't create my life. And
no one asked to be here.
And I didn't create my parents' life.
We didn't ask to come here.
And because of that truth, I know that the only thing I have left to do with the rest of my life is to try to help another human being the best I can.
Yep.
And if I can do that,
that's one of the reasons why
I agree.
Why I do this.
Right.
Is because I know there are people that want to talk, that want to bring their,
absolutely,
that want
to help.
Even though this is a short interview, but somebody else that's watching it will relate to you.
It's quite possible.
And then they can say, "Hey, he made it through, and I can still move on."
My age group, they're the ones that are still here are cool with it. They got over it pretty much.
I remember
but the younger guys now, the guys that are just coming back or just going in, they're the ones that are going to need help 10 years from now, 5 years from now.
Yes,
because Lord knows where we're going. We've got troops right now in NATO that if Lord forbid, but if Putin does some stupid stuff, there's going to be some serious shit going on.
Yeah, it's going to be a bloody war.
It's going to be
bloody. Anytime we got to go up against Russia, it's going to be bloody because their military is nothing to sneeze at. I mean,
no,
I don't take any time. Their military has been around almost as long as ours. I mean, I'm just going to let that one go. But it'll be a bloody, nasty war. But I remember when I was in AIT, I was out on weekend leave. I was stationed out in Fort Belvoir, Virginia, out in Virginia, and we would go any time a weekend I got. I went out to the Capitol, walked the grounds, and did all the monuments and stuff. And I was one day, me and another recruit, I can't remember, Sergeant Salazar, I think his name was. Anyway, we were walking from the Lincoln Building Memorial to the Capitol building, and a bunch of vets come up and just started shaking our hands.
Absolutely.
And saying, hey, man. And that blew me away, man. I says, dude, I'm not a combat vet. I didn't do anything.
Right.
And he goes, it doesn't matter.
Well, I rode in the 90s with the Vietnam Vets, MC, and their club. And I wasn't a patch member, but I rode about a year with them, on and off. And we went to Rolling Thunder, the wall. There was a group of Vietnam Australian veterans who were in the front of the parade, so to speak. They were honored by our country, and the Vietnam Rolling Thunder Association honored them by putting them up front. And we were right behind that. And for people, like you said, to come up and shake your hand and say thank you. Or if I'm out with, we went up last year to Mackinac. We stopped in Frankenmuth for some chicken, and we sat at a table, and there's 4 ladies behind me. They came up, and they said, here. She gave me some money to donate to veterans.
I remember when I was, I was out of the service. This happened about 5-6 years ago. I was sitting eating breakfast at Bob Evans, and I had my, U.S. Army veteran hat on.
Right.
And the girl that I was talking to, the girl that sat next to me, she was, we weren't there we were just there to eat. She was waiting for her father. But anyway, make a long story short, she thanked me for my service, and I didn't expect that because I was always the one to thank other veterans and stuff like that. So she paid for my meal, and I'm like, no, I don't want you to do that. I says, my time in the service wasn't, I didn't do anything worthy. He goes, it doesn't matter. You served.
There's I don't know how there's a saying, I read it, and I can't remember the words verbatim, but it's a picture of Iraq, Afghanistan veteran and a Vietnam veteran looking down at him saying, we got your back.
Oh, yeah, I think I've seen that one. I've seen something like that,
and the reason I'm saying that is because when I hear you younger guys getting thank you'd, which we never got, it makes us feel good in our hearts.
I make it a point
that we know that we did something right somewhere.
I make it a point to wherever I see a Vietnam vet or even any vet. I used to frequent Bob Evans a lot, and there was a lot of vets come in there, And I wouldn't tell them, I wouldn't come up to them or anything and say, hey, thank you for serving. I just grab their waitress and say, hey, I'm buying his meal, whatever he wants,
Right,
whatever
right.
he gets, and I'll pay for it. And just tell them thank you from a fellow vet. Thank you for
Absolutely.
your service from a fellow vet. And after the third time, this guy walked up and says, you don't have to stop. You can stop paying my bill. I says, hey man, you guys deserved it.
And I want to give a shout out to the VA system. Any veterans out there, seriously now, get in contact with the VA. The one in Ann Arbor's pretty cool. The one in Detroit's not too bad. They're out there. And when I was in Florida a couple of years ago, there's a VA facility in Ocala, Florida. I was treated like with honor, dignity, and respect. And 25, 40 years ago, that didn't happen. So
No.
today, the VA system's coming to where it should be. It might be a pain in the ass, but they're there to help you. When I needed some mental health treatment, training, when I was going through my issues, they were there for me. And it didn't cost me an arm and a leg. So it's there, it's affordable, and it's your responsibility to take care of yourself. Don't give in to your demons. If suicide is an issue for anybody listening to this, please contact me or the VA hotline, because someone will care, someone will listen, and your families don't have to deal with it. Your death, if you commit suicide, is not harming you. It's harming your
everybody
family
else.
and your loved ones. So before you decide to pull that last trigger, don't do it. Contact somebody, please. Your family is dependent upon you for that. And that's all I want to say for today. But
That's awesome, man.
I too survived a VA system. I survived a suicide attempt. Only by the grace of God. So, everybody have a great day.
Thank
Evening.
you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Yeah, Gary Nagle, I appreciate your
Absolutely.
time. Thank you. This has been the Veteran Project.